What's up, Doc?
And indeed, what's up, Doc? It's Hi-Yo Silver Away. That's right. This is about silver. Now, we've heard somewhat about the so-called silver squeeze and all of that, and just today I saw a number of advertisements saying buy silver. Well, I brought a friend in who can tell us a little bit about how that works and what's up and perhaps what you need to know and to do. And then we're going to follow it up with a legend of the Hi-Ho Silver guy himself. He actually had a horse named Silver. And, of course, he, ironically, had silver bullets. Yeah, I'm talking about the Lone Ranger. So let's put the Lone Ranger with his silver bullets and his Hi-Ho Silver horse all together in the program today. And let's have some information and maybe a little education, but certainly some fun. The program begins right now. And welcome once again to our kind of fun, but serious fun series called What's Up, Doc? What's going on? Well, many of us have heard about the thing in the stock market, the squeeze, the GameStop, the silver, all of that stuff. Well, it's very confusing, so someone who is far, far better than me at figuring out what's going on with precious metals and silvers and all that stuff, his name is Bill Miller. And Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Stan. It's nice to be with you this afternoon. And I am looking forward to sharing with the audience the true facts as it relates to the financial and economic situation in the good old U.S. of A. And after studying U.S. and global finance for the past 17 years, it's critical that people really understand some of the inner workings so that they may make the very best financial decisions for themselves. So this is a critical part in this very, very confusing times that we're in today. So let me start and share just a couple key facts of what's going on in our economy and why this is important as part of the process of protecting your own assets. First of all, unfortunately, for all practical purposes, our government is broke. The budgets are way, way over the record, and they continue to grow every day. The new Biden administration has committed to spend $11 trillion in the next few years for COVID relief, pet projects, bailing out some big cities and states. Folks ask me all the time, Stan, where's all this money going to come from? Well, unfortunately, very little is going to come from taxes. Even if they tax the wealthy, it'll be a drop in the bucket compared to what's really needed. So the only option, unfortunately, that the Federal Reserve and our government has today is the old standby of print, baby, print. And with all these fake dollars that are being printed out of thin air, what happens is, in the end results, if this continues on and on and on, eventually the value of our dollar will go to zero. And at that point, the party's over. It's time to go home. So let's review why this unlimited fake money printing is very dangerous. With every new fake dollar printed, this continues to run the value of all our existing dollars down further and further. and that's how eventually they get to zero. To back up the seriousness, our Federal Reserve head, Powell, released this statement a few days ago. He said, quote, "We could see permanent economic damage and very extended high unemployment for some time." Now, I've been asked many times, what can I do to protect myself, my family, my assets, my retirement? And obviously, Stan, that's a great question. The experts have stated that you need to protect yourself from the falling dollar with real hard assets, not just paper assets. And when we look at that in the options that have been around for thousands of years, we have land, fine art, diamonds, and precious metals. With my years of expertise, I like precious metals due to the simplicity and the ease of purchase and potentially for the growth and profit potential. As I addressed earlier, the fake dollar continues to fall in value. Interestingly, precious metals prices keep going up. So the more the dollar goes down, the higher precious metals will go up. And additionally, gold and silver presents what I call the best insurance policy in the world for any negative event. Good example is COVID-19. When that hit, the price of metals went way up. The last question that I got in getting often is what's going on with this Reddick investment group that thousands of them ran up the price of GameStop up and above and beyond. Then the next target they announced was silver. And the silver, I would like to explain to you the difference between the exchange-traded fund silver, which is a paper silver, as opposed to physical bullion. Silver and the SLV exchange-traded fund trades like a stock. That's how they were able to run that price up. And what happens is that forces the hedge fund to cover their bets since they were totally shorted on silver. And of course, the more they're forced to buy back to cover their shorts, the more the price went up. So basically, the difference between SLV and physical silver is that in that situation, on SLV, you only have a piece of paper. And what's not real clear in the whole process is that for every 1 ounce of silver that SLV holds in their vault, they sell 95 shares of paper silver. So what happens, eventually, we will all want to go and get our physical silver. So unless you happen to be one of the first ones at the window, you won't get any silver. You'll get a check. So with that said, this is the main reason why we are big fans of holding physical bullion, not paper. Back to the discussion on this Reddick group that ran the prices up. And what happens there is that the price of the paper silver pulled up the price of the physical silver bullion. And we have seen a tremendous demand for silver as well as gold. And it's at the point where the demand is really off the charts. And what's happening, silver is encountering tremendous supply shortages. On the other side, on the positive side, even with these higher prices today, the projection by the experts is that in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see gold between $12,000 and $15,000 an ounce. We will see silver at between $130 and $150 per ounce. And the demand at this point, the big dealers, because of this demand, have added premiums on top of the regular prices. But again, I think in the long run, when we look back a few years from now, we'll probably all wish that we bought more, and we think that this will have a tremendous effect going forward. So what I'd like to ask is gold, and state gold is the noblest of all metals. Do you own any? I would hope so, because gold and silver have been considered money for thousands and thousands of years. So with that said, folks, I would be more than happy to answer any questions you may have or discuss any of these facts further. In the process, I would be happy if you would drop me an email at my address, which is wmiller58@gmail.com. That's wmiller58@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
And thanks to Bill Miller, who is our silver and gold precious metals friend. And we always want people who can help us do things better. Remember, better is the word. We're looking that 2021 will be better. It'll be better for us. We'll be better at what we do, and hopefully things around the world. In terms of this COVID crisis, it will be better. We pray and seek to be and to experience things being better. Well, along with that, the whole idea of silver got me thinking, because recently I have been able to have the opportunity to do podcast programs, not only for people like you and people like Bill, but we are doing it for a whole group of people who are involved with the Western cowboy tradition. We have an organization that we kind of informally call Cowboy Spirit USA, and we're all coming together to produce a series of audio and video programs to remember that tradition and the good things that are there. And by the way, if you are interested in that kind of work, perhaps doing podcasts or being a part of that kind of good stuff, oh, it's fascinating. It really is. We'd be grateful to have you included. So why don't you reach out to us and do that? And the term we're now using is we are looking for, now just please smile, okay? We're looking for twits. Twits, yes. And hopefully you'll be one. Now, it's not what you think it is. It is a teacher of wisdom, insight, and truth. That's what we want. We want you to raise your hand and say, Stan, I'm a twit. I can do that, and I'd like to be on one of your, creator entrepreneur podcasts. I've got some ideas. I can teach people how to be influential, perhaps make an impact in their world, and find good ways to have income come, the true income, not just of money, but of friends and relationships and blessings that could come to you because you're doing things right. It's kind of a do-it-right radio program from time to time. So if you'd like to be a twit, please reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com. stanhouston@gmail.com. And Bill, who's now an honorary twit, he will be back with more as we're following this money and metals and silver and gold situation. Now with that got me thinking, putting that together along with the Cowboy Up podcast and things like that. I've always been a fan of the Lone Ranger, and that's why on one of my video programs I pointed out that we actually believe that the Lone Ranger, it's a legend, it's a story, obviously based maybe on truth or at least on figures that were involved in that. And one of my videos pointed out that perhaps that the Lone Ranger character might actually be based on one of the most significant lawmen in the Old West. Now, who do you think that lawman was or is? Do you know? Now, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about it, and then you let me know who you think it might be. Yes, you who said Bass Reeves. If you said Bass Reeves, you are right. Have you ever heard that name, the rest of you? Well, I would encourage you to do a little fun research on that. B-A-S-S-R-E-E-V-E-S, Bass Reeves. And it's an incredible story. One of the top lawmen. We've all heard of Bat Masterson, perhaps, and Wyatt Earp, and Wild Bill Hickok in some respect. But the top lawman, one of the top one, was born of slave parents in Arkansas and was one of the more significant lawmen in the Western tradition cowboy days. Bass Reeves. You check that out, and you'll find some fascinating stories, particularly in one of my friend's magazines, a gentleman named Bob Bose Bell, BBB, and he is the author and co-publisher of True West magazine. You Google that or Bing that or however you do it, and you'll find some wonderful stories of the West. True West magazine and Bass Reeves. Could he have been the inspiration for the Lone Ranger? Well, now, some of you may remember this. You're old enough to know where I might be going because, remember, it is said that in the legend of the Lone Ranger that he had silver bullets. Do you know that? Supposedly he had silver bullets. Now, that's kind of expensive. Now, why did the Lone Ranger have silver bullets? Okay, here's one of the answers. Lone Ranger, the masked man, decided to use bullets forged from the precious metal of silver as a symbol of justice and law and order, and to remind himself and others that life has value, and the decision to shoot someone is not to be taken lightly. I love the story. Yeah, you better not waste your ammunition shooting people. You better be thinking about that. Not only is life valuable, but if you want to take their life with a bullet, it will be a loss of value to you too. And supposedly part of the legend was that actually it happened because that the work of the Lone Ranger, he and his Indian companion, Tonto, Lone Ranger and Tonto, supposedly they were able to finance themselves because there was one person who knew who the Lone Ranger really was, and it was a silver miner, a man in the the silver mining, and he would, in effect, provide the resources and the revenue and the silver so that the Lone Ranger could go about and do his duties. And supposedly, the one only time he took off his mask is when he might go into some supply station or supply depot and have to buy something. And of course, they wouldn't know who it was, because then he's not the Lone Ranger. You only think of the Lone Ranger when you don't know who it is because he has a mask. Did you figure that out? Did that make sense? Well, that's again part of the wonderful legend. And part of what you have when you find the history of the West is there is history. But of course, oftentimes history is a legend and a lore and a little bit of a myth that's agreed upon. And so, even today, that carries on in the great cowboy actor-performer John Wayne, who has a very interesting life. And when people go back into the stories of John Wayne, there is this kind of conversation. Well, we think this is true about John, but we're not quite sure whether that's a little bit of lore and legend more than truth and reality. But when you think about it, that's a lot about how life is. And as one of my friends said, if the legend and the history disagree, hey, go with the legend. Well, I thought that was just a fun way to think about the whole deal. We need to think about our history, think about a story, and keep in mind, the story of the Lone Ranger is about doing the right thing. Not just getting revenge for something that was done to him, but going out and using his revenge enemy to be an avenger for good, to help people, and of course to take care of those people who need taking care of. But you don't shoot them unless you have to. You save those silver bullets. By the way, some of you now know that the very term silver bullet also came into business lore. Whenever someone says, "Is that what you think is a silver bullet?" The silver bullet is kind of a derogatory or maybe pejorative or descriptive term if somebody thinks they have the perfect idea. It will take care of the problem. We can fix it. And we might say, is that a silver bullet? And the silver bullet is the belief that there is one thing that will take care of all of the issues that we have, at least in that situation. And so that is sometimes there are no silver bullets in the world. Whenever you're dealing with a life and business issue, there are no silver bullets. Again, as I often say, you learn more here by accident than most places by design. So there you go. Hopefully you had a good time in our serious part about silver and our perhaps informative and hopefully smiley part about the Lone Ranger. I'm Stan Houston. The program is called the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast, and we want your ideas. We'd love to hear your ideas on how we can be more influential, how we can make an impact in the world, and how we can increase good income for all. That's what we're all about. And we'll be back. And I do thank you for your time. Please apply to be a twit. StanHouston@gmail.com. By the way, we would appreciate having the opportunity to help you. Our work as the Creator Entrepreneur Institute and What It Takes Radio, podcasting is going and growing, and you're going to have to do it. I'm telling you, you're going to have to do it in some way have a broadcast system in your organization, your mission, your business. And we've got the 40 years of experience plus over 150 years of experience with my team. And we can help you become world-class broadcasters using the powerful internet media methods that reaches all around the world today. So reach out to me at stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com. As a longtime business performance coach, missionary, and a man of faith and practice, there could be some things in terms of speaking and teaching and coaching that could be helpful and useful to you in your business and in your life. If I can't help you, and I probably can, if I can't help you, I know somebody who probably can. And I can always think and help and always pray for us all. All the best and blessings to you. Keep in touch. We'll be back sometime later, sometime soon. Bye for now.